do I actually want to do this for the rest of my life?
Why am I doing this? What is the purpose of this?
I should have really done that.
Today, we start our After Hours series where we talk about our own experiences at college to help you in your academic journey. We touch on the key takeaways college gave us and things we would have loved to know before starting our own journey.
College for me was a lot of really networking, and the learning that I learned was learning how to learn. So learning how to learn and how to be able to interact with others and be able to work with each other and collaborate with each other to create something impactful. So for me, college, it really wasn't about the courses or the academic aspect of college. I did go to the University of Florida. Go Gators. Absolutely. All my Gators out there. It is a great school academically. And it was relatively challenging, I would say. But for me, the value of it was not necessarily in the coursework in the school, but the people that went there and the people that go there. And to be able to create this company, I actually was an entrepreneur during college. During my years of college, I did have a business, and I learned through my quote unquote failures how to learn from those mistakes in order to create something better, larger, and at a more impactful scale. So for me, my college experience in entrepreneurship has allowed me to be able to create this experience that I'm now doing with Gradehacker through entrepreneurship. Also, the University of Florida really fosters an environment of entrepreneurship. They even have their own innovation/entrepreneurship program, almost separate to the overall, not separate, but its own kind of mini hub. I was on the tail end of when that started. I can only imagine what it's like now. But that's what college was for me as far as start this company.
And what did you study?
So I started with electrical engineering, and I basically, let's say, failed out of it. All right. I was partying, I was distracted, doing other things besides going to school. And obviously, you know, for something like engineering,
that's
you need
also
to be
part of college.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about all that too. We'll talk about all that as well. But I started there. Then I went into industrial engineering, basically failed out of that. Then I went into finance in the College of Business, and I basically failed out of that. So I barely graduated, all right? Barely. And I actually ended up graduating with a food and resource economics degree, which actually ended up being something that I really actually liked. Economics is kind of like this psychology, but at like a more like macro scale, and also more like obviously money driven and then policy driven like that. So I actually ended up really liking it. And because of me going through these just wide range of facets of chemistry, all types of maths and calculuses, finance, accounting, that's what actually allowed me to actually start Gradehacker in the first place, because I started out as a tutor. Because I went through all these types of classes, I had all this knowledge and I could teach people how to do it. So that kind of answers your first question as well.
Amazing. I mean, okay, so you study a lot of degrees, sorry. And I studied journalism. And Santi and Flor, what did you study?
I was taking classes of piano but at a university. And then I took courses of marketing and UX design and theater as well. So I had my journey as well.
And you, Santi?
Well, Mari, I studied journalism as well. Like we are both
Yes.
on the same.
I was pretending at the beginning. No. I wanted to ask what was college for you, Santi and Fleur?
College for me, okay, I ended up high school and I wasn't sure first of all, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do out of my life. I wanted to study, but I wasn't sure if I was ready to commit to a career and then have the degree and then be like, do I actually want to do this for the rest of my life? Because I always have in mind like different things that I would like to do. Like, I don't know, back then I wanted to be a musician or being into arts. And then, but on the side, I imagine like having somewhat of a business maybe or something like, I always imagine myself like having many different things going on. For me, it was more of an insight moment, but that I was able to actually grow from that and learn and become a professional that way.
What about you, Santi?
Well, for me, actually, one of the main takeaways that I take from college, I kind of discovered it once I was done with college. And I think that maybe that's something that very usual that you, like all people, can live and get to experience. But for me, I really learned that when you are in college and you're studying, and if you're studying young, like you're a young student, and like that's your main focus, you really need to take every opportunity that you have. Just take it, just leave it, not only with connections, with networking, like if there is an event, if there is a conference, if there is anything, just go there. Especially for us, it's like if you're studying journalism, it's very hands-on experience. You really need to go out there. Now when I look back to my college time, I think like I should have really done that. I should have really like taken every opportunity to do this, to go out more, like to even if there was an extra class, an extra assignment, just take it, just do it, because that's where you're going to really find the most valuable. You're really going to find a lot of value out of it. I don't know, like how it's for someone like Alberto to really think on what you can get out.
That's funny. I mean, I was going to ask a question similar to that, but do you have a question that you wanted to ask me with following up on that, Santi?
What I mainly wanted to ask was like because you first said that you were studying like more electrician technical stuff. Like so when
Engineering.
engineering. Oh, okay. But like why that was first, and then like no, well, actually, I want to follow my childhood dream, and pursue a business, something in business.
Okay, great question. So in college, I didn't actually study business. I did not. I decided engineering, I think, because I didn't know what I wanted. And I think that's totally normal, especially as a 18-year-old. I think it's very naive as a society to be able to say, hey, as an 18-year-old, you will want to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. Because even at 20s and your 30s, sometimes you still don't even really know what you want to do for the rest of your life. So for me, college, I think, was going to the University of Florida was kind of like a dream of mine during middle school and high school. So I think it was more about going to that specific school. From there, it was also just graduating and saying that it was more of like from an accomplishment perspective. But when I was in school, specifically in college, I was never thinking or looking for something like, oh, I want to study something that this is what I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to, because I naturally and inherently had this entrepreneurial like free spirit. That's what also made me like a really bad employee. I was never a really good employee, is because deep down I always wanted to kind of make my own rules or be able to create a bigger impact through myself and not through someone that was making me do what they were asking me to do, sort of approach, right? Like I was always a nerd. I'm still a nerd, and like enjoy learning, and I was always super good in school. Like I would get straight A's in all through school and in high school. It was just in college, I was just like, college is more than school to me right now, and getting A's. And it was like Flor said, exploring myself, learning what I like, what I don't like. I was away from my parents. I can be independent. I can be myself. Like, who am I? What am I doing? Like, what do I love? That's what it was. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, as far as like learning in school, I didn't really learn to apply myself for the rest of my life in classes.
I really like that what you said about both of you, Flora and Alberto, about getting to know yourself better during their experience, because we sometimes have this social pressure that we have to know exactly what we want to study when we have 17 years old. And most of the time it's not like that. And when you decide to change that career, some people have that pressure and think that they are wrong changing that career. So I think that is actually really great that you see it as an experience and allowing yourself to, okay, if I didn't like this, I will try the other degree, and until you find what you love, or until you think, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. It's just about exploring yourself and going through that path instead of, okay, I'm not going to do anything.
And that should
Yeah.
be something I think that's applicable in anything in life beyond college. Asking yourself always, why am I doing this? What is the purpose of this?
Yes. So it's really great to see as a journey and not as something that has to be like perfect all the time. College for me was something mixed into two things, because it wasn't just college, but also me moving from my hometown to another country. So I experienced those things at the same time. That is actually very common in United States, to change from your state to another state to study. Came with a lot of changes, and I really love it because it was about me exploring what I wanted to learn. And I studied social communication, radio, writing, TV, and actually exploring what I like about that, and also getting to know friends, learning about a new culture, getting to know a new educational system.
And how was that? Like, what tips do you have, like, for someone? Because again, as you mentioned, it's something very common that millions of people live through, like when maybe you're moving from a country or from a state to a different one. So, like, what tips do you have from your own experience that anyone can take?
I think that one tip will be that it's actually really normal that you are nervous, or maybe feeling like you're the only random person there that don't belong to some place, when actually we are all there in a new position. Maybe the people that I say is not in a new state or in a new country, but they are new in university and they are also nervous about that. So just be open to be the first one to give the first step about asking questions to the people there, reaching out to professors. Just don't close up to yourself. Just open to get to know people, to ask, to tell them, I'm nervous because I'm not from here. Just be true with yourself and open yourself. Yeah. And ask a lot of questions, because you're going to have a lot of questions.
For sure. I wanted to touch a little bit, because Santi, you mentioned about how you were going, if you could tell yourself like, hey, take that class, go to the presentation, go to the event. It seems like you're talking about like what you learned after you graduated, right? So I wanted to hear from Mari and Flor, if you can go back and give your college self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Trust yourself more. And because sometimes I didn't participate as much as I could, because I was more afraid of thinking that I'm wrong, because I wasn't believing in myself. And maybe if I didn't have that insecurity, I would have had more opportunities on getting to know professors, and maybe professors knowing that I am there, and getting more opportunities in reaching out more to professors, I will think. And don't hide myself into shame.
I felt like similar to you, and what I will say to my student self, like, you're not being judged, or don't be afraid if you are to be it, but also because from a point of view of, you're not supposed to know everything, and it's okay to ask and not know, like to just know nothing about
Yeah,
what you're
because we're
learning.
actually there to learn, not to know everything. So
And
that's, I think
sometimes
that we
you
have
feel
that mistake.
and
It's
sometimes you feel
ironic, right?
intimidated. Yeah. Yeah, like you're supposed to know as much as you can, to be on top of the class, and no, you're supposed to just not know anything. Take your time to learn whatever you need to learn. Yeah, don't feel like people are there to judge you, or it's gonna create some image about you that you can, like, yeah, like, on a social aspect.
Because it's so cliche, but just fail. Just accept failure.
Yeah,
Just like
give
don't
yourself
be
that
afraid
space. It's
to said to ask something stupid. Just ask it. Like,
Yeah,
yes, you're like, oh, maybe because if I'm going to ask this, I will look stupid. Most likely, but just ask it. Like, you are going to learn a lot from that. So I really hate the whole cliche of just don't be afraid to fail. But really,
it
don't be
is.
afraid
It
to
is.
fail.
Getting to know the professor is, I think, something that I know I missed out on it, and especially those types of professors that are actually like high level, because there's different levels of professors, from their own levels of expertise, but also in their commitment and like going back to their purpose and intention of why they're professors. And there's some that are really there because they want to see you, become something more than what you actually are now, or in that moment that you're with them. And I didn't take full advantage of that. I didn't take full advantage of those types of professors because I think it was that. I think it was, as you both, or the three of you all mentioned, kind of fear, not even realizing that opportunity in my more younger self, that, hey, this is an individual that can really make an impact and change your life. And I didn't take full advantage of that. So I would say for myself, it's getting to know those professors, because I was always looking to connect with my peers, with my peers and my friends or people that I didn't know, but were basically there to go to school. I would always look to connect with them, but I missed out on connecting with professors, with people that are counselors, people that are in the administrative office, and those type of higher level, older individuals that are still part of the college program that are not your classmates or your peers in the school.
Yes, completely, because getting to know your professor will give you many opportunities, personal and maybe job related, like the networking that we have discussed about.
All right, well, let's celebrate our first episode.
Okay.
Wait, is it time?
Yes, it's time. Yes, Alberto, you knew it.
It's time. We must celebrate our first episode with the only way we know how to celebrate our episode, and that is
celebrate and end both
and
simultaneously.
Celebrate and end our episodes, and that is we're going to put some music on. Let's get a little dancey.
No.
There's only one. I'm not even going to say right answer. There's only one answer, and that is yes, absolutely. My dancing shoes are on. All right. And there we have it. Episode 1. It's a wrap. That was fun.